Before the world stood still on that unforgettable morning of September 11, 2001, there was another day, less remembered, but just as significant. A day when smoke billowed out from the base of one of the most iconic structures in America, not from the sky, but from deep beneath the ground. On February 26, 1993, a thunderous explosion rocked the very foundation of the World Trade Center. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't random. It was a calculated act of terror, an ominous prologue to a nightmare that would repeat itself years later. This is the story of the first strike on the Twin Towers, a chilling reminder that history sometimes whispers before it screams. The mastermind behind this dark episode was a man named Ramzi Yousef, a radicalized mind with a dangerous vision. He wasn't just seeking headlines, he wanted chaos, collapse, and carnage. Yousef arrived in the United States in 1992 under the pretense of seeking asylum. But behind that false identity was a man already well-versed in explosives, tactics, and ideology. With chilling precision, he began assembling a group of co-conspirators who shared his twisted ambition. Their target? The World Trade Center, those twin pillars of American commerce, towering symbols of economic power and Western influence. But they didn't just want to damage it. They aimed to bring one tower crashing into the other, triggering a domino effect that would wipe out both buildings and claim tens of thousands of lives. The preparation was methodical, slow, and deeply alarming. Over several months, Yousef and his team gathered chemicals, components, and tools. They constructed a 1,200-pound urea nitrate bomb, an improvised explosive capable of causing mass devastation. This wasn't done in isolation. Yousef and his accomplices operated out of a modest New Jersey apartment, hiding in plain sight. They used stolen IDs, rented vehicles, and coded language to avoid suspicion. And then came February 26, 1993. The plan: drive the bomb-laden Ryder van into the underground parking garage of the North Tower, and walk away before the timer hit zero. At 12:18 p.m., the van exploded. The blast carved out a 100-foot-wide crater through multiple levels of concrete, killing 6 innocent people, including a pregnant woman and a young child. Over 1,000 others were injured, some by debris, many by smoke inhalation, and countless more by the terror that followed. The explosion knocked out the power grid, disabled emergency lights, and filled the stairwells with choking black smoke. Thousands were left disoriented, trapped, and panicked inside the skyscrapers as rescuers navigated pitch-black corridors to find them. For over 12 hours, the towers were scenes of confusion, bravery, and survival. Within hours, local and federal law enforcement descended on the site. The FBI, NYPD, and ATF launched one of the largest joint investigations in history. The first major clue: the vehicle identification number from the Ryder van's axle that survived the explosion. That single piece of metal led investigators to Mohammed Salame, one of the conspirators, who, astonishingly, had reported the van stolen and tried to reclaim his deposit. From there, a web of names began to unfold. Nidal Ayad, Mahmoud Abu Halima, and others were tracked, interrogated, and arrested. Yousef, however, vanished. For 2 years, Ramzi Yousef remained at large. He traveled through Pakistan, Thailand, and the Philippines, continuing his work in explosives and training others. He even plotted to assassinate Pope John Paul II and orchestrate a plan to bomb 12 airplanes mid-flight over the Pacific, a terrifying scheme known as the Bojinka Plot. But his luck ran out in 1995 when he was finally captured in Islamabad, Pakistan, and extradited to the U.S. During his trial, he showed no remorse, only defiance. He declared that the U.S. would face even bigger attacks unless it changed its foreign policies. The 1993 bombing exposed gaping holes in national security, intelligence sharing, and building safety. Emergency protocols were updated, surveillance was increased, and counterterrorism efforts grew, but not fast enough. Many experts now believe that had more attention been given to Yousef's arrest and his network, the 9/11 attacks might have been preventable. Ironically, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the architect of 9/11, was Yousef's uncle. The connections were there. The warnings were there. But the world wasn't listening. The bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993 was not just an isolated incident, it was a signal flare. A dark preview of a more devastating act that would come 8 years later. For the families of those who died that day, the pain is permanent, and often forgotten in the larger story of the Twin Towers. But this moment in history deserves to be remembered, not just as a footnote to 9/11, but as a crucial chapter in understanding how threats evolve, and why vigilance must never sleep. What's your take on the 1993 World Trade Center attack? Do you think the warning signs were ignored? Could more have been done to prevent 9/11? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're fascinated by real-life stories that shaped our world, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more in-depth breakdowns like this one. Until next time. Stay aware. Stay informed. And always question the silence.